Hi guys, this is for my friends and my family and my loved ones who I love deeply and who I honor deeply, and just want to offer this gift of love um, to you and to everyone who is willing to receive it and be open to receiving the messages of love that want to come through me and be shared for we. And yeah, it's a good day to start something new. It's the new moon. And I've been working with the cycles and the wisdom of the divine feminine. And the divine feminine wisdom is really cool and really full because she holds it all and it's all inclusive for all. So this wisdom can be applied and practiced like within any tradition or it's compatible with any system really because it holds it all. And it relates and it unifies and it divides for the integrity of the whole. And yeah, so I've just been working with this wisdom and alchemy in action really intensely for the last 4 years actually. Started this journey of alchemy, of working with alchemy in 2016 when I had an awakening. Kind of had like a dark night of the soul and broke down, and there was a part of me that was willing to die so that new life could come through and new life could be born. But it was excruciating, it was painful, it was uncomfortable. There was so many inner conflicts going on that it was just, yeah, something needed to give, something needed to change. And I just kind of broke down on my knees and just was crying out to my Mother Earth to ask her what she needed from me. And I heard her answer very clearly, and she said, show up and be yourself. And so I told her, yes, I'd be willing to do that, and I would do that for her and for all of us, no question. Like, yeah, that's what you need. I'm willing to do that, like, of course. But I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to be myself. And so I asked her for help. Like, how do I show up and just do me? Like, who am I really? So I began to ask her more questions and receive more answers and huge downloads of information. After I chose to let go of some things and forgive some things, that's when the space was actually created to be able to receive like new wisdom and to see some of those higher perspectives that contain all things. And so, yeah, it's been a journey of like seeing different correspondences and connections and everything, and how everything relates, and everything does operate through relationships. And so, yeah, that's why relationships, those are our teachers, and those are our mirrors, and those are our reflections, and the gifts that we have to give, share, and be. And so, yeah, I want to honor like all those who are in relationship with me. So I want to show up more fully. And yeah, I'm being called to show up in full true ways. So part of that is just letting go of different fears of being judged or being seen, and like just showing up as me and all my perfect imperfections. Yeah, my limitations and my strengths. And so, yeah, I'd like to share a few things about what I've seen and what I feel like love is asking us like to see, and some of my experiences that I've had with my alchemy since this quarantine. And yeah, just a few experiences and stories that have helped shape my world for me and shape the way that I see, like the way that I see myself, the way that I see the world, and how it relates to me. And I do, offer that with love and gratitude. And I'm grateful for every experience and every relationship that I've had in my life that has taught me who I am and helped me to remember like who I really am. And so I'm hoping that this my sharing and authenticity and vulnerability will help others maybe show up if they've been hiding, so they can shine their light and share, with the whole what they have to hold, carry, and give, offer, and be. So because we all do have the answers inside of we all have the answers that we need. And that just takes like some trust and some willingness to go within to be able to be willing to see what we need to see. And it's a lifelong process and a journey, and we're always changing, we're always growing, and so we're always evolving. And so we get to give ourselves permission and each other to make mistakes and be human beings and course correct and make amends when necessary and be accountable, and choose what we value and what we appreciate and what matters most to us. And so I feel like we can relate in a lot of different ways because like we have a lot of the same core values, and we do have some deep empathy and compassion within us. And I know like we're all, sparks of that love, and we have so much love to give and to be and share and to create and to receive. And so I was hoping that maybe in certain ways we might be able to relate and cooperate and communicate in more whole ways, because I see that the ways that we've been conditioned to communicate or relate kind of revolve around a debate, like rather than seeking to understand or seeking clarity. And so that kind of sometimes can get us stuck in opposition, or if we're defending our beliefs or our opinions, like it shuts our hearts down, and then we can't understand each other, and we turn against each other, or we turn away from each other. And so I thought, like we're always all going to have different beliefs because we all have different experiences and different ways of seeing, and different ways of seeing ourselves and seeing each other. And so those belief systems have become like filters for the things that we can receive and, offer and perceive. So, like, what if we just removed the filters or that false medium and come together through stories of our experience? And maybe that can help us like relate and learn to cooperate and understand each other in new ways, because, I feel like our hearts can understand each other, even if we have totally, completely different beliefs or ideas about what we see, because nobody sees the same thing in the same ways. Like, for instance, take an apple, and the apple's a good symbol for knowledge and wisdom and truth and awakening. But to all of us, there's a script when we see an apple that tells us, it relates to our former experiences. So if someone who lived near an apple orchard would have totally different, like probably experiences or memories and descriptions of the apple than someone who didn't ever see an apple tree until they were older and it wasn't that big of a deal, or someone who didn't like apples, like just, all those various possibilities. Like no two people are going to say like the same apple, because it's different things to different people. So I'm trying to convey that. And so maybe like we can like share like our feelings and our experiences and not tell each other what the apple is. Maybe we can make some more progress that way, like to unify and to come together. And so that's my hope too. And I know that a lot of this stuff is tricky too. It takes a lot of awareness and a lot of willingness and a lot of humility, to be willing to be wrong, and to be able to allow the other, like their own ways of seeing too, and just allowing ourselves to be wrong, or whatever that is, whatever our agenda is, there, like with defending ourselves or whatnot. So I would like to share with you what I've been going through, or what I've seen the last couple weeks. And I've been writing a lot, and that kind of helps me like understand like what I need, because it helps me like dump a lot of the subconscious stuff on the page, shadow stuff, really like understand like where certain things are coming from and why they bother me so much, if they trigger me, or they have a charge of some kind, like just paying attention to my emotions and like to the stories that come up. And so I'll take a second. There's a lot that wants to be said and a lot that wants to come through. So I realized actually, some of these divide and conquer things, that I was playing into as well. But like I needed to be able to get into that space where I was triggered, and like my emotion of anger or fear like ran me. And I actually I appreciate that, even though it's not always as graceful and all of that as of a process. I appreciated that, because then I was able to see like different things that I could pay attention to and like look for and work with. And so one of those things was that triggered me so much was been seeing a lot of lies and a lot of deception. And so that's what made me like most angry, was just how the harm that these deceptions like can cause, and just how it exploits people too, like, and it exploits trust and all of that. And I just needed to be with like how angry I felt, and like consciously allow and meet that anger with love, and tell that anger thank you. Bring in like my mother energy, my container, to hold all of it, that it was all okay and it was all well. And so meeting my anger with love and asking like, what's asking to be seen here about this, because like I kept going back into a story and a story and story, and then was able to like just bring me back to myself, center myself, and ask, okay, meet myself with love. Okay, what is love asking me? And so I got to see, so I work with the archetypes and symbols and images and all of that. That's part of the feminine wisdom, that's in the feminine arts of healing, because she works through like all of those things. And I realized that it was my imposter, my own fraud, that was asking for inclusivity, like because I was so mad, so angry at the imposter and the fraud. And so I realized, I can invite that imposter, that fraud, that liar, that lives lies. I can invite her back and include her in the light. And I can thank her for showing me where I've been living lies. And so that was pretty huge. Like, oh my gosh, that hit me like a brick in the head. Like, where am I living a lie? Where I might be, where may I be embodying lies, or not being true, like really true to myself. And I realized, I'm tired of doing that. And I explored that a little bit more. And I realized, that it's the vision or the image. It's the image that we project of our identity. That's the fraud. That's the fraudulent thing. And I wondered, like, what else is possible there to be more true? And then I got that I can choose to embody my truth through my vision, through my true vision. And so that was pretty huge. And so part of that, showing up, embodying my truth through my vision, is like showing up, sharing, and being authentic and vulnerable and imperfectly imperfect. So because, all of us have codes and gifts to hold and carry for the whole. And we all do need each other, and we do all need those gifts that we have to give. And so I want to encourage anyone and everyone, like, to maybe be willing to look at the gifts that you have to share, like, of your experience and your stories and your care, like the love that you have for all and all that you hold dear, because that's what it's about, like showing up for what we love and showing up for love, showing up as love and being that love for ourselves and each other. And so good lessons in alchemy this week, and paying attention to, those triggers and the fears. And I realized one of my worst fears, and it wasn't death, and it wasn't sickness, because I've been through that. I've done that. Like, I've been close to death many times, and I've been sick as hell, And so that wasn't like a fear for me, but what came up for me that was really frightening and disturbing was like the thought of slavery, like of being a slave, having no freedom to choose or to be. And so like that's huge realization, like right there, is that like I can free myself and I can claim my sovereignty and my abilities to respond and be accountable to me and take my personal responsibility, and also claim my belonging in the whole, because that is a huge, huge thing. I had this implanted belief that I didn't belong here. And so I grew up believing all this time that it was a mistake that it was here and that I didn't belong here. And that because I always felt like such an outcast or such a misfit or such a weirdo, And like, that was one of my other fears too, was like just never being understood. And just like, and that's a good thing to know too. Is that like, that's one of my fears that I can work with too, is like the fear of not being understood or being misunderstood. And like, that happens to all of us, where we are misunderstood. And I feel like a lot of the time it's because of the judgments that we make. And so, my practice, I'm going to choose to practice this more. Even so, like now, that rather than judging someone, like seek to understand. And especially if it's someone close to me, for sure, someone that I dearly love. Rather than judging them, why don't I extend love to them and pray for them and like seek to understand? So I feel like that's empowering, and like that's something that I can choose. And so that was pretty good, great work right there. Looking at those two things. And those things, like just exploring those things and investigating and asking more questions with curiosity and like just really wonder, like childlike wonder of like, what's all this about? Like, instead of trying to judge myself for being a fraud or for being afraid or for being wrong or any of that. Like, yeah, just seeking to understand what's being asked and what wants to be included and what wants to be reclaimed and what wants to be renamed and reframed. So that's an awesome way to do it, you know, through that personal like reflection and willingness to be accountable. And so I hope, yeah, that helps in some ways, you know, break like the stigma of like this process of learning and this process of alchemy. So we just learn as we go. And then we integrate it as we practice it, and we have opportunities, you know, to apply it in our lives and to act and to work the wisdom. Yeah. So, and embody it. And so I also feel that, yeah, some of our beliefs really keep us from being able to be present with each other or to be open to really receiving each other and reciprocal exchange, like full and free exchange. And so do you guys have any ideas like about how like to shift those old patterns of communication and cooperations through relating? So I know we can relate on certain levels without like the filter of our beliefs when we talk about things, you know, that we feel deeply about, that we love and that we care about. Like if we can meet on common ground there, or that have that empathy for the pain that the other is going through, or for the fear that the other is going through, or for the difficulties and challenges and like dark night that we might be going through, and like really have more allowance for each other and our own different processes in the ways, you know, that we go through them and experience them, and we're all in it together. So maybe we could show up for each other together, like in those ways. And so let's see if there's anything else that wants to be said. There's so much that I want to share, would like to share, but I don't want to go too long and lose you guys. So, but I do like really appreciate everyone in my life and all of the relationships that are beautiful mirrors for me and reflections. And I'm so grateful for this gift of sacred alchemy, and for like all of my experiences that have taught me who I am and have like helped me show up and be who I am. So I offer this with a lot of love and blessings, and I hope to do another video soon and just share with you. And I hope to see like some of my other friends wherever you are and however you are, just as you are, like to show up, encourage you, like to share what you know and to share what you have to give. And maybe like we can shift this division or heal the split and the divide, you know, the conquer and divide that I see happening between like friends and families and neighbors, you know, like maybe this is the way that we can like alchemize like that pain. Like instead of fighting over our belief systems, maybe be willing to meet each other in the neutrality of like clear, whole, full vision. And maybe we'll be able to see different things that we haven't seen before through changing our perceptions and the way that we relate. And maybe that can help us cooperate and operate in new, true, whole, full ways that honor love and that honor the whole and that honor us all. So yeah, that's my hope and that's my vision, and that's what I want to offer. Give and receive. So thank you guys, and I love you guys, and I wish everyone well. See ya.